Hello, I'm Laura Marshall.
And I'm Melinda Rose, and this is Light Matters for April 3rd, 2013.
On today's show, bulk silicon emits visible light, 3D printable optics are open sourced, a European project aims to shrink light engines for OCT, a logic gate is formed from solid-state qubits and photons, and imaging technology could lower the number of deaths from heart conditions.
Silicon is well known to be a poor light emitter, turning added energy into heat instead of photons. But the light-based ultra-fast computers of tomorrow will need to rely on both electronic and photonic components. The challenge of integrating these materials got a bit easier with the recent demonstration at the University of Pennsylvania that bulk silicon can emit broadband visible light. Previous attempts to address the problem include doping silicon with other materials, but the very long wavelength light that resulted degraded the electronic properties. The Penn team drew upon their previous research to coax silicon to emit light. They coupled silicon with plasmon nanocavities to achieve visible light emission at room temperature. The highly enhanced emission in plasmonic silicon provides new avenues for developing monolithically integrated light sources on conventional microchips. The work appears in Nature Photonics.
A library of open-source 3D printable optics components could slash optics lab costs by as much as 97%. The library at Michigan Technological University operates as a flexible, low-cost public domain tool for developing optics hardware for both research and education. The study found cost reductions generally over 97%, with some components representing only 1% of the current commercial investment for optical products of similar function. There also is no shipping cost or waiting for parts to come in. The team estimates that outfitting an undergraduate teaching lab with 30 optics setups would cost less than $500 using their approach, compared with $15,000 for commercial versions. The research appears in PLOS One.
17 European partners in the PHAMOS project want to shrink optical coherence tomography light sources to 1/5 their current size. PHAMOS stands for Functional Anatomical Molecular Optical Screening. The 4-year project began in October and involves laser and medical technology manufacturers and scientists from across Europe. Under the project, a tapered laser that combines very high beam quality and output power will be developed to serve as a compact pump source for OCT light sources. The laser will be used by a Vienna-based industrial partner to pump a femtosecond titanium sapphire laser, which will excite the white light OCT source. The only cooling required will be provided by a tiny fan, and that's a big reason the equipment could become so much smaller than current devices.
Joint Quantum Institute scientists have performed an ultra-fast logic gate on a photon using a semiconductor quantum dot. All computers, even the future quantum versions, use logic operations or gates, which are the fundamental building blocks of computational processes. Quantum dots are an attractive platform for quantum processing because they live inside a semiconductor material. In the new research, light is injected into a photonic crystal cavity containing a quantum dot. Dots have been trapped in photonic crystals before, but the difference here is an added large external magnetic field. The magnetic field shifts around the energy levels of the quantum dot, enabling it to simultaneously act as both a stable qubit and a highly efficient photon absorber. Due to the unique energy level structure of the system, changing the qubit state of the quantum dot can render it completely invisible to the light. The team's proof of principle gate demonstration paves the way for the next generation of devices, which will improve light collection and QD-qubit coherence times. The research is described in Nature Photonics.
Patients undergoing angioplasty or other heart-related procedures could benefit from a new technology being developed by Utah-based Wasatch Photonics with funding from the National Science Foundation. The company's technology, called Intravascular Optical Coherence Tomography, creates images of coronary artery walls in vivo to show where lesions and plaques have formed. The physicians can use the images to determine the best course of action, including where to place a stent. The outcome will be a new tool to identify and treat coronary artery disease, a primary cause of heart attacks and strokes. Wasatch is developing the technology under a 2-year Phase 2 Small Business Innovation Research Grant for nearly $500,000 from the NSF.
Well, that's it for this edition of Light Matters, Photonics Media's weekly newscast.
As always, you can write to us with your questions or comments at lightmatters@photonics.com.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
I say that we do publications and we also connect people who are developing new technologies through events and publishing our papers. I usually say a lot because it's such a wide scope. So it's anything from astronomy to illumination and display, defense and security, any kind of sensing, checking for listeria in food to, detecting a star far away.